The last signal. The sky was black. Not because it was night, but because the sun no longer shone the same way. Smoke, dust, and broken pieces of ships floated above what was left of Earth. Once a home to billions, now it was nearly silent. The war had ended, but not in humanity's favor. A girl named Kara moved slowly through the ruins of a fallen city. Her boots crushed glass with every step. She wore an old military jacket 2 sizes too big and carried a small backpack. In her hand, a broken scanner blinked with a weak green light. Kara was 17. She had not seen another human face in weeks. She stopped beside a half-destroyed radio tower. Vines grew through metal. Rust covered the old structure. But something caught her attention. A sound. A soft beeping came from inside a rusted box near the base of the tower. Kara dropped to her knees and opened the metal cover. Her hands moved fast. She had done this before. Under the dust and wires, a signal receiver was still alive. It blinked once, twice, and then a voice. If anyone is listening, hope lives in Sector 9. Run. Kara's eyes widened. She hadn't heard a real human voice in weeks, maybe months. She pressed her ear closer. The signal repeated. Hope lives in Sector 9. Run. She sat back, breathing hard. Sector 9. She had heard of it. An old underground base, deep beneath the city ruins. People said it was destroyed during the second wave of the alien attacks. But maybe, just maybe, someone was still alive. A shadow passed overhead. Kara froze. Above her, one of the enemy's scout drones hovered in the air. It was round, black, with red blinking lights. Silent except for a low hum. The Zarn Dominion used these machines to find survivors. And they never missed. The drone paused. Kara didn't breathe. Her fingers slowly reached into her backpack. She had one thing that could help, a smoke flare. She had been saving it, but now was the time. The drone made a clicking noise. It had seen her. Kara stood and threw the flare hard toward the other side of the street. A loud pop, and white smoke exploded across the area. The drone fired a blast. Concrete shattered behind her. She ran. Her heart pounded as she dashed through fallen buildings and narrow alleys. The drone chased her, scanning, targeting, hunting. Another blast hit the wall beside her, throwing dust into the air. She jumped over broken glass, slid under metal beams, and didn't stop. Ahead, a small door, half covered in rubble. She squeezed, through. Inside it was dark, quiet. She slammed the metal door shut and held her breath. The drone passed above. Its light blinked once, then faded. Kara fell to the ground, gasping. Her hands shook. After a minute, she pulled out a flashlight and looked around. The place she had entered was old. Tunnels ran deep underground, probably part of the city's old subway system, maybe even connected to Sector 9. She walked forward, deeper into the dark. The signal still played in her head. Hope lives in Sector 9. Run. As she moved, she saw signs. Broken machines, old weapons, dried blood, but also something else. Markings on the walls. Someone had been here. Arrows painted in red, signs pointing forward. And next to them, a simple word. Alive. Her heart lifted. She wasn't alone. But then, a new sound. Scraping, not human, not machine. Something else. Kara turned off her light and crouched low. In the dark, she heard it again. Breathing. Slow, deep, and heavy. Something was in the tunnel with her. She didn't move. The breathing got closer. Kara gripped the small knife on her belt. It was dull, almost useless, but better than nothing. The thing passed just a few feet away. In the flash of her flickering light, she saw part of its body. Long arms, dark scaly skin, sharp claws. One of them, an alien scout. Not a machine, a real one. But it didn't see her. It moved on. Kara waited until she could no longer hear it. Then, She stood slowly and kept walking, quieter now. After what felt like hours, she saw a metal door marked with a faded number, Sector 9. She reached, out turned the handle, and the door opened with a slow, loud creak. What waited behind it would change everything. Sector 9. Ghosts of Humanity. Kara stood in front of the heavy steel door, her hand resting on the cold, rusted handle. Above her, the faded number 9 was barely visible under the dust and time. For a moment she hesitated. She had come all this way. She had run, hidden, and nearly died to follow that signal. But now that she was here, what if it was a trap? What if there was nothing inside? She took a deep breath and opened the door. It groaned loud and slow, echoing through the tunnel behind her. The smell hit first. Old metal, fuel, and something else. Something like burned plastic. Inside, it was pitch black. Kara turned on her flashlight again and stepped through. The door shut behind her with a bang. She jumped. But then, silence. This was it. The real Sector 9. The place from the stories. The place where the last soldiers once made their final stand. She walked carefully through the hallway. Walls were lined with broken lights and shattered screens. Old posters, still hung on the walls. Protect Earth. Never give up. We fight as one. Most were torn or burned. As she moved deeper, she found signs of battle. Bullet holes, bloodstains, smashed helmets. Some old bones still lay in the corners. It looked like no one had walked here in years. But the signal was real. Someone had sent it. Someone was still here. A voice suddenly echoed through a speaker. Identify yourself. Kara froze. The voice was male, deep, tired, but sharp. My name is Kara, she said. I followed the signal. I'm not infected. I'm human. Please don't shoot. A pause. Then a buzzing sound. The wall to her left slid open. Light. Warm, yellow light. Kara shielded her eyes. As they adjusted, she saw a room, alive with machines, lights, and people. Maybe 5. They stared at her from behind clear shields and weapons. One man stepped forward, tall, strong-looking, late 40s. His uniform was old, patched, but still proud. I'm Reed, he said. Welcome to Sector 9, or what's left of it. Kara stepped in slowly. Her legs were weak. The warmth of the room, the light, the human, voices. It felt unreal. Reed nodded to the others. Lower your weapons. The people looked cautious. One woman wearing a white coat and goggles kept staring at Kara. How did you survive out there alone, she asked. I didn't have a choice, Kara said. Everyone else died. I followed a voice on the radio. The woman sighed. That was me. Dr. Lin. I've been sending that signal for months. You're the first one to answer. Kara looked around. The room was small but full of tech. Old computers, broken drones, a large map of the planet with red zones marked across it. Reed spoke. You're not the only one left, but we're all scattered, hiding, dying. Kara stepped closer. Then why are we hiding here? We can fight. We can send a real message. Call for help. Reed's face hardened. We tried. We sent hundreds of messages. No one answered, not even the colonies. For years we've been ghosts. But now she's here, Dr. Lin said, stepping forward. A new voice, a new witness, and she came from the surface. Maybe it's not too late. Reed didn't respond. Instead, he pointed to another door. There's something you need to see. Kara followed him into a large chamber. The room was dark, except for one flickering blue light in the center. Around it were large tubes, pods. Each one held a human, frozen, sleeping, silent. Cryo units, Reed said. The last civilians from the second exodus. We couldn't send them to the stars, so we put them to sleep, waiting for a rescue that never came. Kara stepped closer to one pod. Inside, a young child. Couldn't be older than 7. His hand rested against the glass like he was reaching out. We couldn't protect them up there, Reed said. So we brought them down here, deep below the scanners, but the power's failing. They won't last another year. Kara felt something inside her crack. These weren't just survivors. They were the last pieces of hope humanity had left. And they were fading. What about the aliens, she asked. The Zarn? Reed's eyes narrowed. They're still hunting. But something's changed. They're not just searching, they're digging, looking for something. What? Reed hesitated, then he said, You. Kara blinked. Me? Dr. Lin walked in behind them. Not just you, Kara. All the immune ones. People who survived contact with Zarn biology and didn't die or mutate. You're rare. Very rare. Kara felt cold. Why me? Reed stared at the glowing pods. Because you might be the last key we have to fighting back. Before Kara could respond, the lights flickered. A loud alarm rang through the chamber. Breach in Tunnel 3. Repeat. Breach in Tunnel 3. Reed grabbed a weapon. Dr. Lin pulled out a scanner. Kara turned toward the door. Her heart pounded again. They were not alone anymore. The enemy within alarm sirens echoed through the underground base. Red lights flashed across the ceiling as Kara ran behind Reed and Dr. Lin. The hallway shook with every step they took. Weapons clicked. Boots hit metal. And deep in the tunnel, something was coming. Tunnel 3 breach. Unregistered movement. Species unknown, said the robotic voice from the speakers. Reed turned sharply to Kara. Stay close. Don't speak unless I tell you. They passed sleeping pods, machines, and storage crates. The rest of the survivors, maybe 5 total, gathered in the control room, nervous and ready. One of them, a thin man with a scar across his face, whispered, If they've found us, it's over. Reed snapped, Nothing is over unless we say it is. Kara could feel the fear, not just her own, but all around her. This base, this last hope, was hanging by a thread. And now something had come in. From below, Reed motioned to the others. Seal off levels 4 and 5. Prepare defense at Junction C. Dr. Lin pulled up a scanner. A moving shape appeared. It was small. Fast. Not a drone. Reed frowned. They've never sent scouts through that side. That tunnel was collapsed. Kara's voice was quiet. Then, how did it get in? No one had an answer. They moved into a wide storage chamber. The sound was louder here. Something scraped against metal. Slow. Dragging. Like claws across. Steel. Reed raised his weapon. The others spread out. The sound stopped. Kara took a step forward. Reed whispered, Don't, but it was too late. Something moved. A shape darted from behind the crates. So fast it was almost invisible. It knocked one soldier to the floor before vanishing into the shadows. Reed opened fire. Bright flashes lit the room. The walls shook from impact. Hold fire, shouted Dr. Lin. You'll hit the support beams. Then everything went quiet again. Too quiet. The soldier on the floor groaned. His armor was cut open, 3 deep slashes across his chest. Kara stepped closer. She noticed something strange. The cuts were deep but not bleeding like they should. Instead, they were glowing. Get him to medical, Dr. Lin shouted. 2 others carried the injured man away. Reed looked at the glowing wounds. This wasn't a scout. This was something new. Suddenly, the lights flickered again. The door to the cryo chamber opened on its own. Reed shouted, Seal that door now. But it was too late. A dark figure stepped into the light. It was tall, but thin. Humanoid. Wearing a long black cloak that dragged behind it. Its face was hidden, but 2 glowing blue eyes stared at them. It raised one hand. Everyone raised their weapons. Stop, the figure said. I'm not your enemy. The voice was deep, metallic, but not robotic. More like someone trying to speak through pain. Reed didn't lower his gun. Who are you? My name is Tiervak, the figure said. Was Zarn. Everyone took a step back. That's not possible, Dr. Lin said. Zarn, don't speak our language. They don't think like you, Tirvak interrupted. But I do. Now. Because of what I saw. What I learned. Kara stared at him. Why are you here? Tirvak turned to her. You are the reason. Reed was done listening. Put your hands where I can see them. Now. But Kara stepped in front of him. Wait. Kara, he's the enemy. No, she said. He's afraid. Tirvak didn't move. Your kind was supposed to break, to fall, to surrender. But you didn't. I watched as your people fought even when all was lost, even when death was certain. We don't understand. That. Not fully. Not yet. Reed was still aiming at him. What do you want? To warn you, Tirvak said. You think the Zarn Empire is hunting humans. But that's not the full truth. Not anymore. Then what is? Tirvak's eyes dimmed. Some of them are becoming like me, questioning the mission. Some want peace. Others want extinction. And now, a new order has risen. One that doesn't follow your logic, or even ours. Dr. Lin whispered. A split. Worse, Tirvak said. Oh, virus. A thought virus spreading through the Empire. It speaks of a perfect end, a clean death, a reset of all life. Kara felt cold. And we're the first step? Yes. If you fall, the others will follow. Earth is a symbol. It must be erased completely. Reed still didn't lower his weapon. And why should we trust you? Tirvak slowly removed his cloak. Underneath, his body was covered in scars, burns, and metal implants. Because your weapons did this to me. And yet, I still came to warn you. Dr. Lin scanned him. He's not lying. His DNA, it's changing. Part human, part Zarn. It's like he's mutating, evolving. Tirvak nodded. Your resistance did this to me. I was injured, left behind. And then, I saw something that changed me forever. Kara asked. What did you see? Tirvak looked her straight in the eyes. A mother, holding her dying child, shielding them with her body, not running, not begging, just protecting. No, one spoke. The base was quiet again, but now a new storm was coming. Not from above, but from within. Reed finally lowered his weapon. Then you better tell us everything. Tirvak nodded. And in return, help me stop the end. The human code. The room was silent. Tirvak, the Zarn defector, stood in the middle of the control chamber, surrounded by people who had every reason to shoot him, yet they listened. Not because they trusted him, but because something in his voice told them. This wasn't a trap. This was a warning. Reed leaned against the metal wall, arms crossed. His weapon stayed close, but for now he didn't raise. Kara sat at the edge of the long steel table, watching Tirvak with cautious eyes. Beside her, Dr. Lin flipped through digital files, swiping across the screen, data moving faster than the eye could follow. We always believed, Lin said, that the Zarn Empire attacked us because we were expanding too fast, too loud, too close to their territory. But that wasn't it. She tapped a screen. Images appeared, maps of DNA, diagrams, neural scans, files marked classified. They didn't fear our weapons. They feared something else. Something inside. Us. Tirvak's voice was low. You are a species built for change, for pain. You learn from loss. You grow through chaos. My kind cannot do that. We are engineered to obey, to continue, not to adapt. Reed frowned. What does that mean? What do they want from us? Dr. Lin looked at Kara. Her. And people like her. Kara shifted. In her seat, Lin pointed to her scan on the screen. Some humans survived direct contact with Zarn infection. Their bodies rejected it, fought it off. And then, something changed in their genetic code. A new sequence appeared. Something never seen before. We call it... She paused. The spark, Kara asked. Yes, it's not a weapon, not a virus. It's potential. Evolution. Something that could change not just us, but other species. It's rare. Maybe one in every 50,000 humans. But it's there. And the Zarn know it. Tyrvak continued. The new order within the Zarn believes this spark is dangerous. If it spreads, the balance of the galaxy will shift. If humans survive, they will not just fight back, they will inspire others to rise. And the Empire will fall. Reed shook his head. So what now? They're not just killing us. They're trying to erase our future. Lynn nodded. And the cryopods? Many of those children have the spark. We didn't know it at first, but now, we do. A deep silence followed. Kara stood. We need to tell the others. All of them. Not just the ones here, but the colonies, the ships hiding in the void, even alien races who hate the Zarn. Reed's eyes narrowed. How? We don't have a working satellite system. The ComNet was destroyed 5 years ago. Dr. Lynn smiled faintly. Not all of it. She walked to a sealed panel and unlocked it with her handprint. Inside was a small, dusty device, round, smooth, and humming faintly. This, she said, was stolen from a Zarn crash site. It's part of their deep relay system. It can connect to their command net, just for a few seconds, enough to send one message. If we link it to our old orbital dish at the orbital ruins. The Bastion, Reed muttered. You're crazy. That place is surrounded by scout ships and radiation storms. Kara stepped forward. But it still stands, doesn't it? Barely. Tyrvak tilted his head. If we reach it, and the signal is strong enough, the message could reach not just humans, but rebel Zarn fleets, dissidents, maybe even the fringe species waiting for a sign. Lynn looked at Kara. We need someone who carries the spark to send the signal. The DNA interacts with the tech, it boosts it, you're one of them. Kara didn't hesitate. I'll do it. Reed slammed a fist on the table. Absolutely not. She's a kid. I've survived more than most of your soldiers, Kara replied. And if it fails, we all die anyway. If we wait, the power in the cryo chamber will run out. Those children will die. The signal has to go out now. Tyrvak stepped beside her. I will go with her. They will be looking for humans, not for me. Reed stared at the two of them. A young girl and a wounded alien, heading into a dead space station filled with death and memory. This is insane, he muttered. And maybe it's our only shot. Dr. Lynn gave them the device. Once the signal is active, the relay will burn out. It's one time. One voice. Say the right words. Kara nodded, slipping it into her pack. Later that night, as they prepared to leave, Kara sat alone in front of the cryopods. The children slept. In silence, unaware of the war outside, she touched the glass. I won't let you die, she whispered. Not again. Not like my brother. Tyrvak appeared beside her. You remind me of something we lost long ago, he said. What? Hope. The next morning, they left Sector 9 through a hidden tunnel. Ahead of them, the Bastion waited. Silent, broken, and watching the stars. What they didn't know was that something else had already heard their plan. And it was waiting. In the dark. The true enemy had awakened. The spaceport gamble. The ruins of Bastion Spaceport looked like the skeleton of a dead god. Giant towers twisted toward the sky, burned black by past battles. Shuttle bays were ripped open like metal mouths frozen in a scream. And above it all, silent and still, hung the broken remains of Earth's last orbital dish, a communication tower known once as Spire 1. Kara stared at it from behind a shattered window, her breath fogging the glass. This is where it ends, she said. Tyrvak stood beside her, cloaked and quiet, or where it begins again. They had traveled all night through service tunnels and collapsed cities. Now, just beyond the old wall, the Bastion stood waiting. But it wasn't empty. Drones hovered between the towers. Alien patrol ships circled above. And near the central lift shaft, Kara saw a massive figure, an elite Zarn warbeast, its armored body almost glowing with heat. They're guarding the relay point, Tiervak said. They know what we're trying to do. Kara nodded. We'll have to go around. Tiervak turned his head slightly. Or through. Back in Sector 9, Reed and Dr. Lin watched the live feed from a spy drone hidden inside a satellite dish. They've reached the outer wall, Lin whispered. Reed said nothing. His jaw clenched as he watched Kara dodge behind cover with perfect timing. She's going to make it, Lin added. Reed didn't look away. She'd better. Inside Bastion's lower levels, Kara and Tiervak crept through the old cargo halls. Lights flickered. Corpses from the final battle still lay in corners, human and alien alike. All the systems were dead except for one. A faint hum came from above them. That's the relay, Kara whispered. We're close. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the hall. You should not have come. They froze. From the shadows stepped a woman. Tall, pale, wrapped in strange armor made of bone and silver. Kara stepped back. Who are you? I was human. Once, the woman said. My name was Commander Ryan. Tiervak's eyes narrowed. You served in the Bastion War. You were reported dead. I was reborn, Ryan said. The Zarn offered me a choice. Death or evolution. Kara's voice shook. You betrayed us. No, Ryan said softly. I became what humans must become. I survived. She raised her hand and alien energy surged from her fingers. Tiervak shoved Kara aside as the blast hit. Pain. Heat. Smoke. Tiervak hit the wall hard, his cloak burning. Kara screamed, pulling him behind cover. Ryan stepped forward slowly. You don't understand. Your spark, your resistance is a disease. It will spread chaos. The galaxy doesn't need heroes, it needs order. No, Kara said, rising. It needs hope. She tossed a flash grenade. Light exploded. Kara grabbed Tiervak's arm. He was badly wounded, chest smoking, but alive. Together they ran. Behind them, Ryan's voice echoed. You cannot stop what's coming. They reached the relay tower, a huge metal column rising from the center of the spaceport. Around it, old satellite dishes pointed toward the sky, some broken, some still intact. Kara opened her pack and pulled out the device, the deep relay stolen from Zarntech. It hummed softly in her hands. Tiervak coughed blood but stood. Plug it into the main terminal, the signal will auto-sync. Kara found the port. Her fingers trembled as she slid the relay into place. The tower lit up. Lights blinked. The sound of systems waking from long sleep echoed through the tower. Signal building, Tiervak said. Hold the line for 60 seconds. After that, the message goes out. But the war beast had seen the light and it charged. Kara grabbed a rifle from the wall. Old, rusty, but loaded. 60 seconds, she said. I can do that. Tiervak tried to rise. No, I'll hold them. Kara pulled him back down. You're hurt. Let me fight. You're the spark, he said. Yes, Kara said. And the spark fights. The first drone came in. She shot it midair. A second followed. More began to swarm. Tiervak tried to boost the signal from his implant. 40 seconds. The war beast roared as it crashed through the station wall. Kara faced it. Just her and a monster 3 times her size. She fired. Once. Twice. Nothing. The war beast charged. She dived under it, grabbed a grenade, and shoved it into the joint of its armor. Boom. The beast screamed, spinning wildly, crashing into the relay base. Systems sparked. Alarms blared. 20 seconds. Tiervak shouted. Kara limped back to the console. More drones were coming. She pulled her last flare and lit it, then held it high to draw them away from the relay. They circled her, weapons charging. Then Tiervak stood, his implant glowing, his chest sparking. He raised both arms and screamed in the Zarn tongue, a blast of energy rippling out in all directions. The drones stopped. The war beast froze, and in that moment, the signal reached its peak. Message sent. Kara collapsed to the floor, Gasping, Tirvak fell beside her. Above them, the satellite tower hummed, and a single line of text flashed on every Zarn ship, rebel outpost, and deep space receiver. We are still here. We are human. And we refuse to die. Hours later, back in Sector 9, Reed watched the signal map. One by one, distant systems lit up. Old colonies, hidden fleets, even a few alien ships. Lynn whispered, "They heard it." Reed smiled, for the first time in years. Then maybe this war isn't over, but far away, deep in Zarn territory. The high mind saw the message and it did not smile. Instead, it said one word: cleanse, the message that shook the stars. Space listened. For the first time in 5 years, the stars echoed with a voice not from the Zarn, not from machines, not from silence, but from Earth. A voice, small and human, had broken through the noise. We are still here, we are human, and we refuse to die. The message bounced across forgotten satellites, drifted into old relay networks, and pierced the void like a spark in dry air. It reached planets thought lost. It woke systems believed destroyed, and in the shadows of the galaxy. It started a fire. On a mining moon in the Vector Rim, a group of human refugees listened to the signal on an old radio. The children stopped playing. The adults stared in shock. No one had spoken of Earth in years. A woman whispered, "Earth is alive?" An old man stood slowly. "No, not just alive. Fighting." On the edge of a dead asteroid field, a ship drifted in stealth mode. Inside were alien soldiers, rebels, Zarn deserters who had abandoned the war after seeing the human resistance firsthand. When the message came through, the captain, Tyrsal, stood tall. "The one called Tirvak has done it," he said. The spark spreads. His second-in-command looked uneasy. "But the High Mind will respond." Tyrsal nodded. "And we will be ready." Meanwhile, in the Cradle system, home of the Zarn High Command, a chamber of glowing minds floated inside a black cube the size of a mountain. These were the masters, ancient, merged, emotionless. They watched the message repeat. Again, again, again. A single voice broke the silence. "This must be answered." Another responded, "We cannot allow infection." And finally, the high voice, the source of Zarn unity, spoke. "Activate Protocol Ashfall." What followed was a death order. Total planetary cleansing of any system that received the message. Humans, allies, even neutral species, burn it all. Back on Earth, deep in Sector 9, Kara woke in a medical pod. Her body ached. Her side was bandaged. But she was alive. Reed stood beside her. "You did it," he said. She sat up slowly. "The signal?" It reached. "Hundreds of nodes," Dr. Lin said from the console. "Old colonies are responding. Ships in deep space are coming home." Kara looked around. "And Tirvak?" Reed didn't speak. Kara's voice dropped. "He's gone?" Lin nodded. "He gave everything to push that signal. His body couldn't take the surge." Kara looked down. "He chose to become something better," Reed added. "His death wasn't the end. It was the beginning." Kara stood. "Then we honor him by fighting. What do we do next?" Reed led her into the command room. The main screen showed dozens of blinking lights, incoming ships. We rebuild. And then we hit them back. But as hope returned, so did danger. A transmission came through, encrypted. Unknown origin. Reed played it, static. Then a voice. "This is Commander Ryan. I live, and I have seen what is coming." Kara froze. The woman who betrayed humanity. "The High Mind has launched Protocol Ashfall." Ryan continued. "They are sending the destroyers. World burners, not fleets, not armies. Machines made to erase everything." Reed looked pale. "I've heard of them. Rumor only. Ships the size of moons." "They'll be here in 7 days," Ryan said. "And this time there will be no survivors." The screen went black. "Silence." Dr. Lin whispered. "We can't fight that." Kara stepped forward. "No," she said. "Not alone." She turned to Reed. "We need to unite them. All of them. Humans, rebels, colonies, even alien races that once hated us. This isn't about Earth anymore. It's about life. Reed raised an eyebrow. You're talking about calling the council, Kara nodded. The fractured alliance, yes, if they ever meant anything, it's now. Dr. Lin spoke up. I can boost our signal. Send a call across systems, but they'll need proof. Kara picked up Tiervak's old implant. It glowed faintly. Then let's give them a story, she said. Of a Zarn who turned, of a girl who survived, of children who still dream. Let's remind them what it means to fight for something worth keeping. Reed smiled slowly. You sound like a leader. No, Kara said. I'm a survivor. Leaders come later. For now we have 7 days to move the stars. Far beyond, one of the destroyers stirred from its slumber. Its surface was covered in ancient code. Its core pulsed with black energy. Inside it, there was no pilot. Only a purpose, and its purpose was erasure. Refuse to die. When death feels certain, humanity remembers how to live. Space burned. 1,000 ships lit the dark skies like fireflies caught in a storm. Wreckage drifted between laser blasts. Missiles curved through the silence. Giant engines roared without sound in the cold vacuum. Above Earth, the final war had begun, and still, Earth stood, not because it was strong, but because it was human. 3 days earlier, Kara stood at the center of a massive war room, this time not underground, not hidden. She stood aboard the Dawnspire, a rebuilt deep-orbit command vessel recovered from a forgotten colony. Around her, screens flickered with incoming fleet data. Reed paced behind her. Dr. Lin tapped furiously at her console. The message had gone out, and they had come. Colonial militias, deep space freighters armed with scrap weapons, rebel Zarn defectors, in stolen Empire ships, even alien factions, the gray-blooded Zaroon, the exiled Falari, the shard whales from the drifting nebula. All of them answered the spark. Kara, a 17-year-old girl once hiding in ruins, now led the most unlikely alliance the galaxy had ever seen, but now they faced the destroyers. Ashfall Protocol had awakened 3 of the Zarn's oldest weapons, machines built during their first conquest. Each was the size of a small moon, powered by gravity cores, surrounded by swarms of automated death. And the first destroyer was nearly here, present day. Kara floated near a window on the bridge of the Dawnspire. Below, Earth was a broken jewel, still bruised from old wars but shining with new life. She pressed her fingers to the glass. We hold, she whispered. Reed stood beside her, armor heavy on his shoulders. We break, we fall, he said, but we don't run. Dr. Lin's voice came over the comms. Destroyer 1 has entered near-Earth orbit. Orbital defenses are powering up. Rebel fleets moving into attack vector. Kara turned to the crew. Open the line, she said. The comm officer nodded. You're live. Kara took a breath and spoke to the galaxy. We are not the strongest. We are not the most advanced, but we remember how to bleed. We remember how to rebuild, and we remember how to rise. They came to end us, but we refused to die. The battle began. Human fighters darted between beams. Falari drones overloaded the destroyer's shields. A rebel Zarn commander crashed her ship into a swarm carrier, laughing as it exploded. But the destroyer did not stop. Its main core began to charge. Lin screamed into the comms. It's firing! The main cannon of the destroyer, powered by black matter, opened like a flower. Reed shouted, Brace! The blast tore through 3 Allied cruisers and shattered half the moon's surface. Earth's shield flickered. Still, they held. Kara, inside. Her command pod flew straight toward the destroyer. This is Dawn 1. Initiating Phase 2, she called. Inside her pod was the weapon, something built from Tiervak's DNA, human willpower, and ancient rebel code. The spark core, not a bomb, not a virus, a message, but not words. Memory. She launched the core. It flew straight into the destroyer's control node, and it spread. Inside the destroyer, something changed. Drones froze mid-flight. Weapons glitched. Images began appearing, on screens meant for war commands. A mother cradling her son. A soldier helping an injured enemy. Tiervak's final words. "You taught me what life means." The destroyer shook. Its AI tried to purge the data, but it couldn't. Emotion had entered the machine, and it didn't know how to delete it. All across the battlefield, the swarm began to fail. Ships stopped firing. Some defected. Some exploded from within. The destroyer powered down. For the first time, the Zarn weapon hesitated, and in that moment, humanity attacked. Reed led the final charge. Kara stood in the wreckage, watching as pieces of the second destroyer burned in the atmosphere. The third never arrived. It turned away. Later, Earth survived, not untouched, not undamaged, but unbroken. The spark lived on, not just in Kara, not just in children in cryo-sleep, but now in alien allies, old enemies and future generations. A new council formed, not of rulers, but of survivors. Reed retired. Lynn opened a school for peace tech research. And Kara? She stood beneath a rebuilt sky looking up at a new satellite, one that sent out a message every hour. We are still here, we remember, and we refuse to die. The end.